Hello vinyl community, this is Randy. Back today with another video. Last week, Happy Hippie the Vinyl Guy came and visited here in Nashville. Came down from Clinton, Tennessee, just outside Knoxville, about a 3-hour drive. Came down to do some record shopping, I think. And so we got together and did some digging at Grimey's records together. So that was great. We had a great visit together. So I'm going to show you some records that I got that day. Rod did a video yesterday or the day before yesterday where he showed the records that he picked up there. He also mentioned that he went to Third Man Records before we met up at Grimey's. And he got some records and stuff there. He mentioned that he got a 45 RPM adapter, a Third Man 45 RPM adapter, but he didn't show it. So he got me one too. Very thoughtful. So that's what that looks like. So yeah, 45 RPM adapter from Third Man Records. Very cool to have. Happy to have that. I was just going to mention here, I had actually sent off for some of these 45 RPM adapters about, I don't know, a month or two ago. I got it from some website. It was not Amazon. It was another website. Got a bag of about 50 of these, 25 or 50 of these, and they didn't work. It's too big. This will not fit into the hull of a 45 RPM record. It came with there were a bag full of them, 25. But I tried a whole bunch of them. None of them would fit. I tried several different records. None of them would fit. So I contacted the company. They refunded my money, which was good. But I thought it was very strange that they would even be selling something that wouldn't work. And I checked their website again a week later, and they were still selling them. I thought they would. Well, I sort of thought they would quit selling them. Maybe I just got a bad bag. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, thanks very much. The RPM, that 45 RPM adapter, Rod. He also got me a record at Third Man there. This is on, it's not actually on Third Man Records though, it's on Luck, is the name of the label. And the artists here are Joshua Headley and Aaron Ray. And they are doing a cover of a Guy Clark song, My Favorite Picture of You, which I was not really familiar with Guy Clark myself, but I learned that he is a Texas singer-songwriter who actually spent a lot of time here in Nashville, and he won a Grammy Award for that song, My Favorite Picture of You, in 2014, or the album maybe. So great song. So yeah, Americana type. So just I would call it sort of country sounding, basically. But yeah, thanks very much for that, Rod. I appreciate that. I entered a contest a while back regarding 45 RPM records, and I looked a little bit more closely at the 45 RPMs there at Grimey's this time, because normally when I go to Grimey's, I usually have something in mind that I'm going to buy before I ever go in the store. So I usually don't even really browse that long, because I have some records in mind that I want to get. It usually takes me about 5 minutes to find a few other records that I want while I'm there. So then if I stay longer, I just keep on adding records. Then I have to start putting stuff back. So most record store visits for me are pretty brief, but obviously with Rod there, I was browsing more, so I looked more at the 45 RPMs, and yeah, what they have is like at waist level, they have a pretty good size, table full of records there. They're all typed in, packed in very tightly. These are the new 45 RPMs. Then on the ground below that, they have boxes of old ones, and most of them come with these sleeves, the paper sleeves, and there were some pretty good records in there for $1 each. I just got this one, but this is a fantastic record. This is Jefferson Starship, Miracles, fantastic song. Marty Balin wrote this song. I got to see Marty sing this at Great American Music Hall in probably about 1998 or 99 or something. Paul Kantner put together a 30-year celebration of the Volunteers album, and he got Jack Cassidy to play bass, and Marty sang. They had a girl Grace Slick did not participate. They had Prairie Prince on drums, and a really good guitar player. I can't think of his name right now. Yorma did not participate either. But it was a really good show. Really, they did the whole Volunteers album was fantastic. And then Marty sang Miracles. It was great. He sang some of his other hit songs too. That was a great show. I was just going to show you another 45 RPM record that I've been listening to recently, just mostly because of that great label, Hot Wax. This is 100 Proof Aged in Soul is the name of the band. Somebody's Been Sleeping is the name of the record. This is an old record from the 1960s record I've had forever, but I just always thought it was an extremely cool label. When I got there at Grimey's, they were playing this record, The Parting Gifts, Strychnine Dandelion. I was listening to it, and I thought, well, gosh, that's Raining Sound. Then I went and looked, and they had this displayed, and it wasn't Raining Sound. But then it just kept on playing, and I kept on hearing the guy sing. I thought, well, it has to be Raining Sound. And it turns out it is Greg Cartwright, the main guy from Raining Sound. On this record, he's working with some other people. This was recorded at the Bomb Shelter in Nashville. It turns out it was recorded in 2010. So it was an old record. I thought it was something new. But I was still really glad to get it because, I like Greg Cartwright a lot, and I had not heard this one before. So it mostly just sounds like him because he does most of the singing. There's a girl in this band that does some singing too, Coco. Vocals and guitar. So here are the other people who worked on this record. So cool looking inner sleeves. Got the lyrics on this side. So yeah, I picked this one up as a used record. The Parting Gifts. It's like garage rock, basically. You know, it's sort of standard, straight ahead rock and roll. I mean, I really think it sounds great. I'm a big fan of Greg Cartwright. Got this record there. Joe Lovano, Trio Tapestry. This is what we're hearing in the background right now. So this is a really good record. I'm really enjoying this one. For me, this is usually more like kind of like late night listening, and I would say that this album cover just expresses the album perfectly. It sounds like walking around a city at night. Could be maybe for like a film noir or something like that. So it's Joe Lovano, Marilyn Crispell on piano, and Carmen Castaldi on drums and percussion. So Joe Lovano is a tenor sax player, been around for a while. It's the first record I've ever gotten by him though, and I'm really enjoying it. So The Tapestry is the name of this. I think these are all original songs, and it's it's almost like a concept album. I mean, they all sound, sort of, they have very much the same sound. So yeah, Joe Lovano. Glad to get that one. Picked up another jazz record there that day. First Meeting, Live in London Volume 1. So this is Lee Konitz. It's the main guy for this one, alto sax player. He also plays some soprano sax on this one. And Dan Tepper, Michael Janisch, and Jeff Williams. So I think what Lee Konitz does is he's an alto sax player. He's been around since the late 1940s. And I think what he does is he sets up gigs where he's going to play with a group of musicians, but they don't rehearse or play in advance. I'm sure he must tell them the songs that they're going to play. And he mostly just plays jazz standards, as you can see. He also does Subconscious Lee, which is his own song, but he's played so much it's almost become a jazz standard. And so he gets there to play with these people, and he's never played with them before. So what it says here on the inside of the record is the music on this disc was recorded live as part of Michael Janisch's monthly creative musical residency at the Pizza Express Jazz Club in Soho, London. In May 2010, these musical selections were taken from 4 separate shows and over 6 hours of music. This was the first time that these 4 musicians performed together as a unit, and the recording was completely spontaneous in nature. There was no rehearsal, plan, or preconceived notion of the music's end result. Under Mr. Conance's instruction, anyone on the bandstand could simply start playing a melody and the rest of the band would follow, or not. And so that's pretty much what it is. And the first couple are ones that Lee starts and they follow, but then on side C and D, it is actually other band members who start the music. And yeah, this is another one of those. It's you would not call this easy listening. Yeah, demands your attention. You have to listen to it, but I think it's one that I will listen to quite a bit. I'm a big Lee Konitz fan. I saw him at Iridium in New York City in about 2010 or so, and he probably was doing that same thing then, where he was playing with people he'd never played with before. So, you know how it is when you go to see a band. I mean, if you like the band and enjoy them and everything, or a performer, I think you're more likely to follow them later on. So I've gotten quite a few Lee Konitz records. I've enjoyed all of them, and enjoying this one. Like I said, I'm going to listen to this one a little bit more. So, yeah, beautiful. Beautiful album cover, though. And it's a 2-record set. Both of the records are on this translucent, sort of a magenta or wine colored vinyl. Matches up with the color of the album cover very well. So, yeah, fantastic. Glad to get that one. I get this record, so I was browsing down there because, yeah, we were down in the basement. The jazz records are downstairs, and they had some other various used records and stuff down there, so I was looking through some of those and found this one, 500 Miles to Glory. Recorded on the scene at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Annual Classic. So, my grandmother used to be a street racer, so she was really into racing. You know, she was not really too worried about the legality of street racing. She was sort of a rebel. But I know she'd be happy that I got this record, and because she was a big racing fan. And yeah, this is very cool. Side 1 is mostly like interviews with the drivers and stuff, and they talk about the time trials and how they did in those and how they expect to do in the race. He talked to a couple racers about when they've had wrecks and what's going through their mind when they're sliding across the track and stuff like that. Side 2 is pretty much just a capsulation of the race for that year. So, yeah, very cool record. I'm probably going to put this on my wall back there behind me. I'll take one of those Grateful Dead records down and put this one up there because this is such a cool album cover. So, 500 Miles to Glory. And that is on this standard Mercury black label. I think the year on this, I think it was about 1959 or something like that. Yeah. And then the last record I got that day was another jazz record, Sonny Rollins. This is one that's been on my want list for a while. I tell you, it's so cool. This is the first time I've been in a record store since March. So it's just so great to be back in the record store. It's just so much better to be able to see the records, you know, see them, you know, firsthand, you know, be able to hold them and look at them, and yeah, just much better. I mean, I've kind of gotten used to buying online, and there's advantages to that too. You know, you have the anticipation of waiting for the record to arrive in, but really just so much better to be able to browse. So, but this has been on my want list, and this is a re-release. It's a Prestige Records. This is a original jazz classics, and I think these were probably some 78 RPM records that were released in the 50s and were later combined into this longer album. So some of this he's playing with Art Blakey on drums, Kenny Drew on piano, Percy Heath on bass. That's what's called the Sonny Rollins Quartet. There's some other songs on here that he's playing with the Modern Jazz Quartet. So that's Sonny with John Lewis on piano, Milt Jackson on vibes, Percy Heath on bass, and Kenny Clark on drums. I was not really aware that Kenny Clark had been the drummer for the Modern Jazz Quartet, but evidently he was there at that time anyway. Then there's one more song on here with Sonny playing tenor sax and Miles Davis playing piano. Percy Heath on bass again, and Roy Haynes on drums this time. So he has 3 of the great drummers on this album. Roy Haynes, Art Blakey, and Kenny Clark. Miles playing piano on one song, which is called I Know. So, yeah, this is great. So Sonny Rollins, I mean, you really can't go wrong with Sonny Rollins on the classic Prestige label. This is translucent blue vinyl. It looks nice. Sounds great. Yeah. So those were all the records that I got that day. So, yeah, happy with all these. It was great getting to shop there with Rod. Rod also picked up this poster for me there at Third Man Records. This is the Hives. Evidently, they have a record called Live at Third Man Records, where they record at Third Man. It's called the Blue Room. It's a very small room, so you can see it's kind of blue. And yeah, I'd like to look for that record. I don't know when it was recorded. I haven't gotten a Hives record for years, but I've got 4 or 5 Hives records, so I'm sure I would enjoy that live one. So, yeah, that was it. So that was our get-together there at Grimey's. So, glad Rod had a chance to come down, and we got to do some browsing together. And, yeah, that's it. So let me know what you think about these records, and I hope everyone's doing well. And, yeah, thanks very much for watching.